Salam alaikum, boys and girls, it's Daniel Garofoli, and today we have an interview, not an interview, like a chat, a talk, and there's so many people out there who say they are the most successful real estate agents in Dubai, like show-offs like me and all these other braggers on social media, but this guy here is the real deal. This guy is Mr. Chris Boswell, a legend in Dubai for me, for any realtor in Dubai probably. A living legend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being on the channel during COVID times.
Absolutely.
And tell a little bit about yourself. You've risen up in the crazy times of Dubai real estate.
Yeah, I started here in 2005, and I worked for my brother's real estate company, Ocean View Real Estate, he was one of the pioneers in the real estate game over here, right at the beginning when everything was being launched, specifically Palm Jumeirah waterfront property. He had the first estate agency showroom on Shakeside Road, so I moved out here to work with him, and basically just kind of hit the ground running really.
How old were you back then?
I was 20, what would I have been, 23? 23, 24.
Jumped in a plane, no clue about real estate,
no clue about anything like that. No clue about business or really how to kind of do anything in that kind of business environment. And then kind of picked it up quite quickly and just chose a specific development, which was Palm Jumeirah, to work on. And I think everybody has to be very charismatic about what they sell, and you kind of end up falling into your niche, whether it be you want to sell stuff in downtown Dubai, or you want to sell golf course community, but I just liked the Palm. I liked the waterfront,
the lifestyle.
Yeah, the lifestyle and the waterfront aspect of it. And then I was working in the market right through the financial crisis as well, which, as you know, was not a good time.
Pretty hard.
It was a very challenging time, but it gave you a lot of experience, because when you go through that, through something like 2008, you just it gives you that ultimate experience to be able to get through something like that. So a lot of the young guys now that are working in the market, that were my age when I started, and they're going through this whole COVID crisis now, which is very unprecedented. It's completely different from 2008, but it's still a very challenging environment that you're working through. But you just have to obviously persevere, be tenacious, and just kind of work through it really, which is what I did. And then I was selling the Palm for a number of years, and then in 2015 specifically was one of the best years. But basically because of lifestyle changes personally, I stopped drinking alcohol, I stopped smoking, I was in the gym, trying to get back into it now. But back then I looked a bit better. So I was in the gym.
We'll do another one next year.
So I was in the gym, and I just had I was laser focused to kind of, I had a goal that I wanted to achieve, or a number of goals I wanted to achieve, and then it all kind of, everything just fell into place. I think partly because of the lifestyle changes. Yeah.
And the goal was $1 billion dirhams.
Well, over the course of my whole career, globally. It took me a long time to kind of add it all up, but it's in excess of $1.1 billion now, yeah. US dollars. Yeah.
So that's 3.9 billion dirhams.
Approximately, yeah.
In overall sales. 3.9 billion dirhams, $1.1 billion in sales sitting right here.
Yeah, so it was,
wow.
Sometimes wonder where all that commission went, to be honest. Now that I think about it.
Well, in your biggest state, in Scotland, probably.
Yeah. So 2015 was really good, and I sold a number of villas on Palm Jumeirah. One of them, as you know, being a really record-breaking sale, which still is the highest residential freehold property that's ever been sold here, which was 185 million dirham. Which was great. And then shortly, just prior to that, a few months before, I sold one for 68 million dirham, which is about 19 million US dollars, and two more before that for 45 million dirham and 57 million dirham, and a garden home property on Palm Jumeirah, which we sold for 18.3. So that was all within the first 6 months of 2015. So then it kind of, it was just a real successful year. And then I kind of saw things here starting to diminish slightly. That was just my sentiment at the time, and I think, you know, we all kind of need a bit of a break every now and again. Everything kind of has an expiry date, or has you know, you have moments where you kind of need some time. And I had very small children at the time, 2 and 5, and me and my wife just decided to take a bit of a break. And we, you know, because we'd had such a good 2015, we went back to the UK, and you know, we bought a beautiful property in Scotland, where my wife's from, and we've spent a number of years living there, and me working remotely, flying to every major city, well, most major cities in the world, to sign collaboration and referral agreements with the most successful real estate brokers within that city. So the first place I went to was Marbella, and I met a gentleman called Tim Castiles from Castiles Ericsson in Marbella, and I obviously met a number of people while I was there, but I felt I had the best synergy with him. So me and Tim have obviously done a number of deals together through referrals, and then I flew to California, and I kind of joined up and partnered with my friend Ben Bacall, who's
I see him on your Instagram.
Yeah, Ben's #1 luxury agent in Los Angeles, California. So, you know, that's basically what we were trying to do. And I went to New York and had my friend Ian Slater from Compass. He's our guy in New York, and my friend Richard Jordan from Douglas Elliman. And yeah, so I just kind of created this whole global network of people, and just use it as a referral, you know, a way to create referral commissions and to service the client request, instead of me having to constantly. I mean, sometimes you wish there was like 10 of you to be able to kind of manage everything. And that's basically what I did, and now I'm looking potentially to maybe come back and set up here.
Nice.
Because I think everything is about timing, and I think the timing's good now. I think that
for Dubai again.
For Dubai, specifically Dubai, yeah. So you know, I think
why is that? Why, like, what gives you that sense? I mean, you had the sense to relocate in 2015, because you said we're going through like a period where it's like it's flat.
Yeah, like
it was, right? I mean, this was the time when I started real estate, but I think it's also a good time to like get the ground skills done and to learn without having, you know, like too much risk or too many people here as well. And because I'm believing also that we're now seeing a lot of growth here and people coming back who left originally just like you. Why do you planning to make a move?
I think that specific time frame when I wasn't here, there was a huge boom of Offplan sales, which Offplan was never really my kind of forte. I mean, it was at the very beginning when we were selling, you know, it was all about Offplan when I first started, you know, Palm Jebali, Palm Jumeirah, even, you know, Le Rev, if you know Le Rev, Dubai Marina, that was just come to hand over at the time, but it was still considered Offplan.
I saw a picture lately when Marina was completely flat and only Le Rev was there.
It was just there. So, you know, it was all about kind of like Offplan selling then. But then as the market kind of matured and everything kind of became, you know, Palm was handed over in 2007, you know, that was what I kind of really tuned into, because I like completed product. I like high-end completed product. You know, Offplan's great, but
you're serving the higher net worth individuals market a lot, right?
Yeah, and I'm a good, you know, one of my attributes is I'm good with a variety of different types of people and personalities, right? And I find that you spend, you know, an enormous amount of time with an end user as opposed to an investor, because they don't have the same attachment to the asset. Like an end user, everything has to be very important. You know, the style of kitchen, the configuration of the property that they're looking to buy. You know, as opposed to an investor who's just thinking about yield and return, and it's a different product completely. So I was just more kind of like, this is a good time to go now. And I mean, obviously people made an enormous amount of money in that time selling Offplan, but I was quite happy doing what I was doing. And now I feel...
Can't dance on every wedding, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna steal that one. That's a good one. So I think now I really like. I really like the way that the UAE specifically handled the COVID problem. I think it was handled very, very well. You know, put the people first. You know, and I don't want to be critical about, you know, where I was at the time, but I don't think certain places handled it as well as they did here. And I feel now security is on kind of the forefront of everybody's mind now. Everything's kind of taken, kind of like shifting, and you know, people are thinking about, you know, their health and, you know, their security. And I think Dubai is the you know, one of the safest places in the world to live and raise a family.
Absolutely.
Geographically, it's excellently located. You know, it's a very transient city. It's very cosmopolitan, so it's kind of got everything to kind of cater for every type of person.
Yeah.
So even the developments that you live in, it has apartments, it has a downtown area, a financial area, a waterfront area, golf course community. It's got everything. So and the weather, number one. The only thing that's free in Dubai is the weather, which is good.
Well,
so do you know what I mean?
We hope.
We hope. So I think in that reason it's really good. I think that other cities that in Europe especially, there is reservations, and people are quite apprehensive about security. And you know, I think that's a big problem now. So here specifically, I feel is the best place. You know, this, and it's the Monaco of the Middle East, right? So
even the Switzerland, I think.
Yeah, and the Switzerland, yeah. So, and I think it's taking the correct steps forward to kind of, you know, they have great focus here, and so. And
even if you want to go home, like 6 hours in the plane, you're back home.
Yeah,
or for you
exactly.
as from England, maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8. But you know, it's a very easy place to.
Not like it's 14
don't
hours
forget, you have the
flight.
best. Without bias, you do have the best airline in the world in terms of connectivity to different places. So you can get on a plane here, and you can literally fly to any major city in the world. And there's multiple flights to a lot of those destinations, which is really good. So then that in itself creates, creates foreign investment, in the sense that, you know, if you can get there easy enough, people will normally kind of invest in that place. Absolutely. If you've got to make multiple connections to get there, it puts people off a little bit, right? So accessibility, I think, is really important in terms of when people are looking to invest or have a holiday home, you know yourself, if you've got to catch 2 or 3 flights to get to your vacation home, it's kind of puts you off. So, and it's tax free here. Another fantastic, positive about the place.
What I like is that the entry barrier is also not like it's very high.
Yeah, of
like
course.
The people that live here, there's a very, very high entrance barrier. I mean, to get a resident visa, you have to invest 250,000 euros.
Yeah.
You have to open a company, and opening a company here is, you know it, and I know it, a pain in the butt, because they make it
challenging.
Definitely difficult for you to become part of a non-tax system.
Yeah.
While in Europe, you just go to an office, sign it, bam bam, company open within a day.
Yeah.
Because you become part of a tax system, and the security feature is for me one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Where I'm feeling when I go back to Europe, like you see, like how. I mean, I'm living abroad now for 7 years, and Europe, Germany, especially, and I'm like from the southwest, like border to Switzerland, but just the richest part of Germany.
Okay.
There's Mercedes, there's Porsche, there's Bosch, like all of these big companies. So everybody's very, but you even see that it has declined a lot.
Yeah.
Where I think like the security part here, that you only have a certain kind of people here.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't have a social system, but that's exactly the reason why Dubai is on a winning street for the next decade for sure.
Yeah, of course. No, and I think that, tied in with overall security, but personal security, where the people that we deal with, the high net worth, the ultra high net worth community, people like to, they like to own nice things, they like to have nice watches, they like to have,
Where's your watch?
Exactly, because I'm still, which leads me to what I'm about to say. You're still in that kind of mindset that, in Europe especially, it's not really the done thing now to have a very expensive watch, because again, it's a security problem. Yeah, you could, someone could take it from you. It's like that's, and a lot of people share my sentiment when I say that. So women who have very expensive handbags and jewelry, and especially in London, it's now kind of a bit of a problem to kind of have that kind of wealth on show. Where here, no problem. You can gladly and safely walk around with your with your expensive watch, and women especially with their jewelry and their handbags and so on. So I think that is as I say, it's very similar to Monaco in that sense, because the security is so good here. that it puts your mind at rest, and it's a very, very safe place. I said to you, me and you when we spoke before, my friend left his very expensive watch in a restaurant, particularly watch a few weeks ago, and he actually didn't realise straight away. He only realised the next day that he'd left his watch. He took it off. Yeah, he took it off in the bathroom to wash his hands, and he just forgot to basically put it back on. And he kind of was trying to retrace his steps because he'd gone to quite a few different places that day, and he just couldn't remember. And then he remembered that it was that specific restaurant. So he obviously called them, and then they said, "Yeah, it's here, no problem." And he went and picked it up. And I mean, you would never in Europe.
Never.
A lot of places in Europe that wouldn't be possible. So I think that's just little things like that are very. And don't forget, people do say, you know, I'd like to kind of respond to what some people are thinking. Well, yeah, Dubai is quite expensive, but you have to understand you have to pay a premium to live in an environment like that. Anyway, it can't all be free and be cheap, and you have to pay for these things. You know, it's like anything. If you want a very expensive, luxury, reliable vehicle, you're going to pay a lot of money for it.
I'll compare it to a flight. If you want to fly first or Echo.
Correct.
In Echo, you have the screaming babies, you have crisps all over the place from kids, you have people who complain that it's too loud and too narrow and too like this.
And then you have
first class, you're like, okay, I'm alone, I have my flatbed, give me some food, give me.
But you pay for that, right? So you pay a premium. It's it's almost 3 times as much as what you're paying. Yeah, but it's the experience that you pay for, and that's how I kind of like look at it here. I think you get fantastic weather. Obviously, there's a couple of months of the year where it's quite unbearable with the heat, but a lot of people fly out of here and go home, and it's so yeah. I feel that timing now is perfect for me to kind of. As I say, I'm not 100% yet, but that's the kind of, I'm in that transitional period now. Reminder, I think I might come back, and we have a lot of interest now from the last couple of years. We've got more interest now after this whole COVID issue for people wanting to buy back here. Mostly holiday homes, and as I say, we've got a lot of end users that are looking to relocate from Europe and the US. I've got a friend of mine called me from Los Angeles a few days ago. He's like, we're thinking about maybe making the move. The retirement visa as well, most recently, which is a huge positive step, which I think will obviously bring a lot of people to the city as well. And I think for security, in the sense that you're in a place that has economically is quite stable in terms of you got to look at it like you have a big brother that lives down the road who's if you look at ADIA and Mubadala, you're talking, there's like 700-800 billion asset under management, right? So you've got that aspect of it as well, where you're in a region that is incredibly cash wealthy.
Google UAE sovereign fund.
Yeah, sovereign wealth fund. So and the thing is, I think that's important as well, and so I think it's the best. I think it's the best place at the moment in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely, totally agree. That's why I truly believe in this place as well. One question that comes into my mind is how I mean, if you close a lot of $5 million and above deals, which is basically your bread and butter. Where do you find the clients? Through your network?
Yeah, I am. Believe it or not, I do not advertise on any major portal, right? Or deal with any real big service provider for real estate.
You don't wear a fancy suit.
No, I'm very like I do have one somewhere. I have a suit somewhere, way back at my closet, mothballed. But I used to do the whole suit thing, and it's just different. I think it's very important to feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
When you're trying to sell something, or when you're trying to conduct yourself in a business environment, and I'm just not a suit wearing type of person. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with people that prefer to be more formal. It's just how you feel. But a lot of, in answer to your question, a lot of the guys that I get are from referrals, from Instagram. So the social media platforms are very important.
And you have not a big following. You have like 2,000.
No, see, I was a real late starter to Instagram. I didn't start really kind of like taking it seriously until probably 12 months ago. It was kind of just something really to just participate with putting personal pictures on there, and you know, I didn't really use it as a kind of business tool.
Yeah.
So I didn't kind of go after that big following, and then all of a sudden, you know, I started taking it more seriously, and then using the platform to kind of show who you are and what you've done, which I think is really important. Because a lot of problem with people who are very anti-social media, or people who think it's wrong to be, you know, not show off's the wrong word, but if you are good at something and you have a history,
have to talk about it.
Yeah, and you have a history of being good at something, and you have a proven track record of being successful, whether you know, sold something that's the most expensive property, or you consistently sell on a regular basis, and you sell whatever it may be, then I think it's good to let people know that you do that, because how are people going to find you? You know,
this is what I praise to the people. Like, he's the living example as well. As much as me, I only have, I don't know, 9,000 followers.
Yeah.
You have 3,000 followers.
Yeah.
So still, I'm creating 2 to 3 leads a day.
Yeah.
And you are building a big sales pipeline through only 3,000 followers. You don't need a big following to be successful in real estate.
Yeah.
And also, instead of talking to your mates over a beer and buy the next round, what you've done, just take the phone, we have it in our hand anyway, and talk about it and share it with people, with potential clients, with people that watch you out of anonymity, you know, because that's what people, a lot of people, I know they observe me. I know that, because they're like, oh, okay, this guy's interesting, but what does he do? And they maybe need a year or two until they pull the trigger and contact me and close a deal.
But I think it's very important as well that there's no one way only, right? It's not just one way is the right way. There's lots of different ways to be equally successful. It's just the type of personality that you have and who you connect best with. I mean, it's like, you can have people who follow who may not like the way you do it, right? They may not kind of, you know, gravitate towards your type of personality or the way that you do it. Maybe they would prefer someone a lot more corporate or formal, or, you know, it's just a different, people do it in different ways, but you can be as equally as successful. So that's what I'm saying. You know, I've got my friend Barnaby, who you know, and Fabricio, those guys that I work with very closely. The three of us have a very different way and a different approach to how we sell and how we, you know, manage clients. And, you know, but I say, you know, my way isn't right, their way isn't right, or neither's mine is wrong and neither is theirs. It's just a different way of doing it.
There's no wrong way or right, there's only your way.
Which is good, because there's lots of different personalities and there's lots of different, you know, nationalities here. So it requires to have that, also be a bit of a chameleon.
And you'll find clients that respond to your way. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I think after the you know, with not going off topic, just voluntarily kind of giving this information, is that when you do it for such a long time, it takes a number of years to be able to have that kind of you know, gift to be able to deal with lots of different types of people. So you have to, you know, be able to adapt to the different personalities and the different cultures and nationalities that you deal with. You know, some people, you know, I kind of know immediately whether I've got to be a little bit more formal, or I can be a little bit more casual, or just totally be myself. So there's no...
Or taking yourself out of the deal or out of a discussion, like being neutral to like anything that has been thrown at you, because that's what we agents do, like we have to deal, not only the deal, we have to deal personalities and egos as well.
Definitely, it's really important. So I think that's an important thing to know, and it takes a number of years to kind of develop those different types of rhetoric when you're dealing with different people.
Absolutely, and that's but that sometimes is the drop that changes everything. Like if you manage to develop that skill, which is only developed through experience, in my opinion, and this can get you that far or miles away.
Yeah, I agree, and it takes a long time. I mean, I get quite a few people who are kind of starting out in real estate, which is a compliment, really, to have people message you privately and ask for advice on, you know, how do you get to how do you get to whatever level that you're at. And the thing is, it takes time, right? It takes a long time. Like, it doesn't come overnight, and I think people are waiting for you to just say, look, you've got to do A, B and C, and that will catapult you to immediately where you need to be. But it takes time. It takes a lot of years to build those relationships, and real estate is about, it's about people, right? Absolutely. It's about dealing with lots of different types of people and connections, and putting people together and building that network of people. And as I say, it takes, I mean, it's took me 15 years to be able now to pick up the phone, to just call a number of different people that would be interested in something that you've just offered me now. That's a good price, that's, you know, that I think's a good deal. I don't have to sit there and think, right, well, I've got to get that advertised quite quickly.
Yeah.
Try and find a buyer through that way, which is equally as, you know, there's nothing, you know, you can do that. But for me, I can call probably 7 or 8 people that I know would be straight away. But that takes time, so it's
and it takes care, because we have a similar sized couch at home, and sometimes I find myself lying over here with my feet over there in my underpants, and my wife is saying like, Daniel, when do you get up? Like, and I was like, I'm working.
Yeah, you can work very remotely. That's how I've been doing it the last couple of years.
But also maintaining the relationships to so many people in so many time zones.
Yeah, it's difficult to kind of juggle everything, but you've got to stay in contact with these people. You see, I'm amazed at how a lot of people, when they've completed a transaction with whether they're representing the seller or the buyer or both, they kind of, you know, cut contact with them and just move on, and they think, right, that job's done. Car salesmen are terrible for that. When you buy a car and they're your best friend at the beginning, I hope there's no car salesman watching, because they're going to hate me for saying
this. Doesn't matter. Listen to this now, car salesman.
You know, you it's the after sale and the aftercare of that transaction. They're your best friend. You buy it, and then 2 or 3 days later, you could have a problem. You go back, and they don't want to know you anymore. You deal with that guy who you don't have the relationship, or the relationship that you thought you had with the sales guy, and the whole thing changes, and it just makes you just makes you feel bad. So I think that you've got to stay in touch with people even after you've finished the transaction. Keep in touch with them throughout a number of years, to be fresh in their mind, that if they have a friend that say, well, we're moving, you know, I've got a friend that's moving to Dubai, we're looking to buy somewhere, immediately they're going to think, call Dan, call Chris, right? They sold me something 4 years ago, but Chris and I had a coffee last week. You've just got to, you know, keep that relationship and just consistently stay in touch. Send them a Christmas card, send them anything, just constantly be kind of there in their mind whenever they think about real estate. And I think that's, and it could take 4 or 5, it took me 10 years to do a second sale with someone in Dubai. And that was a relationship that, because I liked the gentleman as well, like we had a good friendship, but I stayed in touch with him for 10 years, and then he listed the property with us internationally instead of locally, to try and find the buyer. So, you know, it could take a decade, but it could take 6 months.
What people underestimate is like this ripple effect that it has. Like if you have one person that is happy, and they tell it to 4 persons, and they tell it to 4 persons, and then you have this big network of people that trust your word, which is like anything in a deal. The trust. You have to, and I think what's most important is, you know, do not try to sell something to somebody that you would not buy if you were in the same position as them. So I always look at it like that. Like, would I buy? I mean, it may not be something that I could need or even afford, but if I think it's a bad product, or I think that it's, you know, that you're kind of pushing them into something that isn't you know, good for them, then, you know, don't do it. I mean, I've taught myself out of big commissions before, because I just think that that's going to be bad for them in the long run. It could even cause me headache in the long run, and it's just not worth it. So just focus on good product, and, you know, just make sure that you've got their best interests at heart when you're trying to navigate through it. So that's absolutely, that's what I think about it. All right, man. Last question, maybe. What do you think? I mean, this is obviously a very hypothetical question, but what is your opinion? Where is Dubai in 10 years? Where is this place, this city? Oh, that's a good question. Is it still a bad market, or a tough market, no, I think it's buyer's market like it is now? No, I think it's gonna, you know, every day Dubai obviously is maturing. It's becoming, you know, more and more, you know, as I say, cosmopolitan. It's always going to be a very transient place because of it being such a hub for other destinations. But I think that, you know, even if things change where, you know, a certain type of tax could be, you know, an income tax could be introduced, or, you know, money needs to be generated somehow to be able to pay for everything that they've got in their overall plan, right? So I think that's not going to be a negative, because I only mention that because a lot of people mention it to me. They say, oh, do you think Dubai will ever change its tax kind of system? Maybe they will, maybe they won't, hopefully they won't.
I don't think they will.
Pretty sure they
but
will.
even if
there are other
even
tools
if they
to
did,
create money
yeah,
in this
even
area.
if they did, I just would like to mention that I don't think it would be a huge problem. I don't think it's you know, depends what level it is obviously, but I think that in 10 years, yeah, I think it's going to be on the right path. I mean, look, if you look at what you've got now in such a short space of time, right? The rapid growth within the last 15 years, and they still have huge aspirations to make it even better. I think it will be, yeah, I think it will be one of the best cities in the world, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think for investment long term, I mean, if you look at, you know, use Palm Jumeirah for example. There's some villas now that are really great that are selling for, what, I mean, I'm in the pound brain, yeah, because I've been in Europe for the last couple of years, 500, 600 pounds per square foot. If you look at, you know, London, and I know people immediately say, well, you can't really compare London to Dubai. I mean, but I think you couldn't do that many years ago, but now it's, you know, it's a major player in the world. From, you know, it's a fantastic city, and I think £2,000 per square foot in London, £3,000 per square foot in London. In, you know, Los Angeles, you're talking maybe £1,000 to £1,500 per square foot in certain high-end areas. So I think from a value perspective, I think that, you know, it's incredibly undervalued at the moment with what you get for your money, right? With all those fantastic amenities and on the Crescent with all the hotels, and you know, I just feel that it's a good time to buy now. I mean, every salesman normally says that, yeah, it's a good time to buy now, but I genuinely do. Well, I'm putting my money where my mouth is because I'm coming back here, hopefully at this time, because I myself would look at buying something now, because I think it's a good time to do it, yeah. But it,
call me up,
but
I'll find you something.
But it all depends on what you buy, right? It all depends on what product you buy. There's a lot of, you know, desirable products out there, and there's some that isn't so desirable, but that reflects on what price you pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also that Dubai, I mean, is as much as an entrepreneur as you and I are.
Yeah.
Dubai had 20 years ago this idea of what Dubai should be.
Yeah.
And every day there passes by, Dubai comes closer to this goal. Yeah. Of course, many things happening, many things are good. Sometimes, or very often, there are setbacks for Dubai. You know, major setbacks for Dubai that makes the development more difficult. Yeah. But that's just part of my life, your life, and the city, and of any business. And I think anybody who watches this can relate, because I have this idea of myself in X years, you know, of this being doing this real estate and blah blah, and globally and blah blah. So I'm working every day towards this goal, and I think this is what the government does here as well.
So you've got fantastic leadership here,
more
importantly, right? So and also the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Abu Dhabi, they're investing heavily into healthcare and technology. So I mean, if you think like from when we were talking about security before, you know, it's also lifestyle. It's a fantastic place for lifestyle. Yeah. Right down to even if you go to see a movie. I saw Tenet a few weeks ago.
The first class movie.
Yeah. And I went to the Platinum Suite or something in Dubai Mall. And I mean, it was like being in first class in Emirates. Like we just don't have that back in Europe. I mean, you do have some that offer, I think it's gold class, that's you get like a leather recliner, and you know, it's not the same experience. It's so clean.
The mummies at the table.
It's amazing.
And it's service.
And it's not like very, very cheap. You do pay for it, but you pay for the experience at the same time.
40, 50 euros or the dollars?
Yeah, it's fantastic. So there's, you know, that's just one thing out of so many that I can think of just because I've done it recently. But yeah, I mean, even going out for dinner here, the quality of the food here is fantastic. Yeah, I'm a great ambassador for the place. Yeah. Like you said to me earlier, I left my heart here when I left, because I do have such a connection with Dubai. You know, I made my career, you know, started here. I made my money and my security here. I met my wife here. My children were born here. I mean, so it's, you know, you can always go and you can come back, and you know, it's just, you know, but what did you say? You can take Dubai out of the boy. Yeah, but you can't take. No, to get the boy. Take the boy. I can't remember it now, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think I'm excited about it. So let's see. Awesome. Fingers crossed. So thanks for your time, bro. Nice to speak to you. And nice to speak to you. Not the last time. Yeah. Guys, please go and follow Chris Boswell. I have put his links, his social media links, obviously website. He is also a developer of an amazing real estate app. Go check it out, especially from the US or from Dubai very soon. So we put all the cross links of Chris Boswell
here in the subtitles, media, etc. So a living legend, as I said. $1.1 billion in sales alone in Dubai. So this is something that I'm looking up to and chasing from now on.
Thank you, bro. And you'll get there. You're younger than me.
Inshallah, as we say.
Yeah.
And thanks for your time, bro. And
thank you very much.
Nice to talk to you. And guys, watch out for the next video. Please subscribe, like up, and swipe up, and do anything that that we influencers do. Cheers, guys. Bye bye.